Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Mic'd Podcast. I'm Mike, a hairdresser of over 20 years. One of the best parts of my job is the conversations that I get to have with all of my clients. We talk about anything and everything and invite you to listen in as we get mic'd up for today's conversation. On today's episode, I hope you're hungry for chocolate because we have Jenny in the chair, who is the owner and creator of the Truffle Cottage, one of the greatest chocolate makers of our time. She tells us how she started with a small idea and turned it into a fan-based company taking over the nerd world. I hope you enjoy. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. The time has come. Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Here we go. Miss Jenny, the Truffle Cottage. Best chocolates on the planet.
Well, at least in Pleasant Grove.
No, here's the thing. You own this company called the Truffle Cottage, and I've eaten a lot of chocolate. Yours is by far the best. And if people haven't ever tried the Truffle Cottage truffles,
you should.
You should.
Yeah.
Because they are delectable.
You know, when you're self-employed, there's always that doubt factor. You know, are people just eating the chocolate because they like me or they want to be friends with me or whatever, you know? But I had to work on a Saturday, and I usually don't work the storefront. And this was a couple of weeks ago, and I had one lady that had to come in and get a chocolate Easter egg. She said, I went all over the place. I got some chocolate from everywhere, and I couldn't eat it. And I had to come back and actually get a real chocolate bunny from my favorite chocolate place. And I'm like, are you just saying that? You know, I mean, because there's always that big question. But then probably an hour later, a lady came in. She said, oh my gosh, it's my birthday tomorrow. And my husband said I could come in and buy whatever I wanted. It's my favorite chocolate place. And we've been all over the world. So it's fun.
Well, if for those listening, the Truffle Cottage in Pleasant Grove, or go to online to trufflecottage.com and order up some of these truffle. They truly are the best, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, we were talking earlier before we started filming about the dark chocolate. You're orange habanero dark chocolate, and I absolutely can't stand dark chocolate. It's just not my favorite at all. But that I could eat every day of my life and not be sad about it. So
well, think of how healthy you're getting eating that dark chocolate.
Yeah. I'm not going to go to the gym today. I'm just going to eat this bar of dark chocolate. It's going to be great. No, but so I'm just curious, like, what got you into chocolate? Like chocolatiering, because that's one of those things. Like even just on a recipe where I have to double boil is it called double boil or double broil chocolate?
Well, you definitely want to melt the chocolate without burning the chocolate.
But even that process, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with it.
Oh, it's confession time.
So how does someone get into being like, you know what? I'm going to take this and I'm going to perfect it and I'm going to make the best chocolate that everybody has ever had.
Well, now I'm going to tell you all my deep, dark secrets that I don't tell anyone.
I mean, don't give me the recipes. Like, I don't want that. But
well, let me tell you a little bit about my love for chocolate.
Okay.
Growing up, I was the girl that would go into the gas station and get a Snickers bar. I would cut off all the chocolate and eat the Snickers bar. I just did not know. I mean, this is like
and the peanuts. And
it's just the confession part. I never was a fan of chocolate. I would not buy a Hershey's bar, even if it had almonds. I just didn't like chocolate. And, you know, I know now why. There's a difference between chocolate and good chocolate. So, anyways, fast forward to probably 13 years ago, someone made me a cake pop, and it wasn't chocolate. It was white chocolate. It had a, cake filling, and I wasn't going to eat it because I wasn't a big fan of chocolate, and I left it on the counter for a couple weeks maybe, and then I tasted it and thought, I love this. And of course, my first thought is, I wonder if I could do this. So that's really where it started. I started with cake pops, and then somebody asked me if I would do a chocolate wedding, a wedding with real truffles. Okay, so I never knew anything about truffles or chocolate or anything. I had to go on YouTube. How do I make a real truffle? You know, I mean, I had a choice of using butter with your chocolate, with your ganache, with your flavoring, or using heavy cream, or, you know, some people go a much healthier option and use, you know, avocado. And just, it was very, very interesting to see all the different ways to do chocolate out there. And finally I came up with a chocolate that I liked, and I rolled the first, I don't know how many truffles, and did a wedding. And then Utah AIDS Foundation called me, and they were like, hey, we heard you could make chocolate. Can you do some truffles with red ribbons on it? And that's really the first time I ever did anything novel. I had to, you know, when you're self-employed, you're always a yes person. So of course I can do that. And then I had to figure out, how am I going to do that? And, you know, I found a way, and we put little red ribbons, chocolate red ribbons on top of these truffles. And that's really where we started. Even then, I don't even know what chocolate I used at the time. That was a graduation. We finally found a Swiss chocolate we liked for some things, and, you know, other chocolates for other things.
Is there some chocolates that are just like, you like, that's a sin? Like that shouldn't be allowed.
Yep. And I won't say any names on here, but there are some I've just thought there's no way.
Does it rhyme with Bershey's?
Well, yeah, that's not even a question. No Hershey's.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, you know, I don't know what it is about Hershey's that is really so not good. It's just not good.
It's just wax. It's waxy. I don't know.
Some people say it's the aftertaste. I had somebody say, oh, we found out why it tasted waxy because we went to Hershey's, and their machinery sometimes drips oil in the chocolate. And I'm like, that is not why. That's okay. You can think what you want. I'm not going to argue about it.
But so now, because I don't know, I guess because you make normal truffles.
That's how we
really
started,
fun.
just doing normal truffles.
But would you say, because like a big part of yours now is how do you even, it's
the
themes or like novelty
side.
Type stuff, like Star Wars,
yeah.
like Comic-Con. Like when I first met you, you were like going to Comic-Cons and doing all that. And I was like, Comic-Cons for chocolate?
I know.
Like, but people love it. And then they taste it and they're like, it's even better. People
are like, that looks too pretty to eat. Oh, I can't eat that. It looks way too cool to eat. But no, so I kind of developed the whole truffle thing, making case truffles or just regular truffles, some molded, some hand rolled. And then 2012, I think I rolled truffles every single day of December and thought, I'm not doing this. This is like the stupidest job ever. I don't even have any time for myself. And then 3 days after Christmas, I'm like, okay, I can do it. I know I can do it. I just couldn't give it up. So January, I incorporated and thought, well, I'll just do, truffle of the month. I'll do these little truffles. I already have a little bit of a clientele that wants truffles. And by then, I'd made my very first lime coconut white chocolate truffle, come up with my own flavor, which people really liked. Then March of 2013, my girlfriend calls me and she's like, I think I can get you a booth at Salt Lake Comic-Con for 50% off. And that's what we always look for as a small business owner. Oh, yeah. You're looking for the opportunity to sell your wares at a more affordable price.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, 50% off, sign me up. And then I hung up the phone and I got on my computer and I Googled, what is a Comic-Con? Because I had no idea.
You had never at that point
heard of
to a Comic-Con.
No. And that was Salt Lake Comic-Con, or now known as FanX. And that was their first comic convention. So it was our first comic convention, their first comic convention. And I thought, man, I can't take normal truffles to a comic convention. I wonder what I could do. So I Googled all these conventions and I kind of saw what celebrities were there. Doctor Who was there. Star Wars was a big topic. And so I looked for different molds maybe I could use online, and had them sent to me and tried them out. And I thought, okay, you know what, I could do this. So we started with superheroes, maybe Doctor Who, and Star Wars chocolates, and that's where we started. And the first day we went, we had our booth set up. We had a little refrigerator to keep the chocolate cool. And we had a display on the table. I didn't have a banner. I didn't have anything. I really didn't know what to expect. And I sat there for the first hour. I mean, the walls of people just, that first year, you couldn't get around anybody. It was unbelievable. And I sat there and thought, no one's stopping at my table. No one wants my hard-earned chocolate. I'm going to go home. So I left my husband and Blair there. And 2 hours later, he called me and said, okay, we're sold out. When are you gonna bring the next batch? I'm like, you're kidding. So at that point, I think the next 2 days, all I did, I mean, one night we went to a thing for just the celebrities, and we sat by a couple of celebrities and chatted and, you know, did that. But I spent 2 nights making chocolate all night, bringing it up to the con, trying to sell as much as I could. People were literally giving us their credit cards on paper, saying, this is what I want to order. Here's my credit card. Deliver it when you can. Or, you know, I really have to have this. It was a big deal. So I went home after that comic convention thinking, yeah, this is a win. This is a shoo-in. I can't pass up this opportunity.
So you knew like that at that point. Now, were you already, I mean, having never heard of a Comic-Con, obviously you weren't into the Star Wars and the Doctor Who and the Avengers and all that stuff, but
I watched him on TV. I mean, but I'm probably not that fan that is going to faint when I see, you know, a celebrity.
William
like
Shatner.
Chris Evans was at the last convention we just got back from in Seattle. You know, and I wouldn't be the person to see him and die, you know. I mean, I respect all the celebrities because they're doing what we're doing. They're working.
Yep.
You know, we've had a chance to talk to, you know, quite a few. We've had quite a few of them shop at our booth, especially Europeans that don't like American chocolate come shop at our booth. I love it. It's great. But from then, you know, we started out making it right in my kitchen in my house.
Yep.
But in order for me to sell out of state, and really kind of develop the whole comic convention idea, I had to have my own kitchen.
That's like state law or something? You have to have
You can't sell out of state. So we built our commercial kitchen and signed up for Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
So that was really the second show we did. And it's so fun. I mean, our fans are not just fans of the chocolate, they're fans of the Truffle Cottage. So they'll come up and say, man, I remember when you were in the basement, you know, in this little 10 by 10 with no banners, just a few pictures put up trying to sell something. You know, at that time we were handing out cards. We were probably doing stuff we didn't know we couldn't do or shouldn't do, but...
Well, it's way easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. So,
yeah, it has been a fun journey. The first real celebrity encounter we had, I think it was maybe the first year we did Emerald City Comic-Con, or you know, up in Seattle. Clark Gregg was there.
No, I don't know who he.
He was in the whole Avengers movies. He did a spin-off on, I can't remember what the name is now. I know someone's going to know what it is. You guys are probably knowing exactly what show he's in, but anyways. He was there as a celebrity, and we had sold chocolate, and somebody, before he went on to speak at his panel, had a bunch of Star Wars chocolates in the back area. And one of them was our Smorlanium Falcon, which, you know, I mean, you know why we're calling it a Smorlanium Falcon. He took a picture of him holding up that Millennium Falcon chocolate and said something like, "These are where my people are." And we found it on Facebook. And my friend and I, at the time, literally replied to every single person that was like, where can I get this chocolate? It was great.
And so then it just evolved over the years, because
Yeah.
now you've gotten into Marvel, you've gotten into,
Yeah, Halloween chocolate. I mean, I remember the very first mold I had custom made. So we started with molds we could find online. And then Halloween was coming up, and I'm like, man, I got to do something different. I think at that point I realized if I was going to be on top of the game, then I had to make my own molds. I had to get crazy doing really my own thing rather than what anybody else could do.
Yeah.
So I hired a sculptor to do 3 different designs for me. They did Jason, they did Freddy, and they did Chucky. And I think it was like $600 per mold. And it was way out of my budget. But I knew if I didn't get on it, I knew I'd make the money back. But I also knew if I didn't get on it, it was easy enough for somebody else to, at the time I thought, easy enough for someone else to do what we did,
Thing is, a lot of people look at a business and think I could do that,
Oh.
but really, it's the little details, the
Yeah.
little BS stuff that you have to go through. That's the part that once they
Yeah.
encounter it, they're like, I'm done.
Well, I think I was very protective when I first started the company. I didn't want anyone to be copying me. I just wanted to avoid that at all costs. And so I wouldn't tell anyone anything. And I think as you get going in businesses like this, you realize that, it's hard enough. What we do isn't easy. What we do is not like a typical chocolatier. We're not just taking a piece of chocolate and rolling it. Or putting it in a bar. We're doing Avatar Airbender, channeling our General Iroh and making them tea infused. I mean, we're really getting nerdy with our chocolate. And we use a lot of different techniques, but bottom line is, what we do is not an easy job. And it takes a team to be able to create the chocolate that we do. And it takes a fan base who loves us and supports us,
So what's been your favorite Comic-Con experience that because now you've been to lots of them, like after that first initial shock of just like,
well, I can't
there's
say
so many
that
people.
because if our Dallas fans heard us talking about Seattle or our
no,
Salt
I'm just
Lake,
saying your personal experience. Has there been someone that you've met that you've been like, oh my gosh, or a story where somebody comes up and wants to buy something and they tell you their personal experience?
Well,
has there been anything that's just like,
there have been a
makes
lot
it worth what I'm doing?
There have been a lot, but I'll tell you one story so we went from Seattle and we jumped on the Dallas bandwagon. And we went out there, we had our booth all set up, we're excited to sell. We know there's no one that does what we do. And we get started. We do well the first day. On Friday, Saturday it rolls around, and the guy who's over the food in the convention center, a company called Centerplate, that guy marches right down and says, cease and desist. You can no longer sell food at this convention center. Now, this is regularly a problem. We don't ever get a cease and desist, but, people want to share in the wealth.
Yeah.
So in this case, he shut us down completely. He said, you pack up your stuff. And that was very scary for me because I knew we had invested a lot in this company. We invested in the booth. We had our hotel rooms. I had my employees. I had 2 employees with me. We had invested in the chocolate that we brought down. And I thought, okay, that's it. That was probably the first time I cried at a convention. I had to walk away from my booth because I just didn't know what I was going to do. In the meantime, the boxes are on the table. The girls are slowly packing up. Fans are coming by that we've never met before because it's our first year. What is going on? And so the girls are telling them what's going on, and they're like, well, let me help you out. I'll take that and that and that. And they would little by little pick up what they wanted. I had one girl, loved it. She'd take the chocolate. She'd have it in a little bag. She'd run behind a pillar, and they'd do like a cash deal. And she's like, oh, I feel like I'm dealing drugs.
You're like a chocolate drug dealer.
Yeah, because
give me my fix.
Yeah, because we technically been shut down, and I couldn't be behind the booth because I was just it was too hard for me because it was my deal.
So
they were
you've
just
been
employees.
shut down, but you're still like offloading.
Yeah,
the stuff that you've got.
Yeah, they're still selling. In the meantime, I'm talking to the.
Was this in the middle of the? Like you'd already done a day.
This was actually Saturday. Supposedly, the busiest day of any convention is on a Saturday.
And they told you
and
that's
they shut us down. Yeah.
Wow.
So me needing to make the best of it, I went over. I walked around the convention. Stan Lee was there, and I thought I'm just going to go over and talk to his handlers. And so I'm like, all right, here's what's going on in my life. I'd love to meet Stan. What chocolate can I bring you to make this happen? And the guys are like, bring us white chocolate. And then bring something for him. So I loaded up on, I had lime coconut tribbles I took over. I had strawberries and cream I took over. I just took over like 6 or 7 boxes to these guys. And I had our Spider-Man chocolates that I thought I'd give to Stan Lee. And these guys were so great. I mean, this is like my rainbow to the cloud story. These guys are like, all right, just hang out for a minute. They bring Stan Lee on the stage. There has to be at least 300, 400 people waiting to hear what Stan Lee has to say. Okay, now Stan Lee is at the top of his prime when it comes to comic conventions. You're going to pay $250 just to meet Stan Lee, and probably another $250 to get an autograph. So I'm waiting, and here he comes out, and they wheel him out so he doesn't have to walk, and all the people are lining up to meet him, and the guy comes up and says, hold on, wait a minute. And then he motions to me, and in front of all these people, I walk up to the stage, and I'm able to gift him my Spider-Man chocolate. And that's all I was going to do, is gift it to him. And then the guys are like, no, wait, hold on. Let's get a picture of you and Stan Lee. And Stan, make sure you hold the Spider-Man chocolate out so everybody can see. It was like so great. And then I'm back to the booth, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a win. This is a win.
Yeah.
And then the guy comes down from center plate and says, okay, never mind, you can keep vending.
Really?
So the table goes back up again. We're able to sell for the rest of the weekend.
So wait, just because Stan Lee...
No, it had nothing to do with Stan Lee. I think that what our whole point when we talk to these companies is that our chocolate, we're not offering it in an open container. It's such a novelty item. People really, for the most part, don't open it up and eat it right in front of us. They take it home. They take pictures. They brag about it. Look what I've got, the coolest chocolate from the Truffle Cottage. It's an experience. And then they come back the next day and they tell us how much they like it, and then they order more. But I think that at that point, they had decided that our chocolate was not competing against whatever food they had on the floor. So we were able to sell it and not have a problem.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then I'm sure with Stan Lee, if all those people watch him hold it and they see...
Oh, yeah. I mean...
You, I'm assuming that was a good
that's always a win.
Year.
Yeah, that's always a win. We have celebrities that will come buy our chocolate and set it on their table so that people can see it. And then they're motivated to come over and see what we've got. Now we're established. We've been in Seattle since 2014. I want to say we're at year 10. We were at year 10 this year. And these people, and they're our con family. Again, it's about the chocolate, but these people are so amazing to support us every single year. When 2020 happened, we had to pivot because conventions weren't a thing.
Yeah, they all got shut down.
So we had prepared all the chocolate to go to Seattle, and then we found out 2 days before the show it wasn't going to happen. And Seattle was the hot spot.
So what was how did you pivot? Is that when you opened up online and started shipping?
Well, we were online already, but it hadn't really been our main thing. So we did a conversation to our fans and let them know we wouldn't be doing any conventions, and we'd be offering. I mean, we had to get rid of. We had cases and cases and cases of chocolate prepared for this convention, and we had to get rid of it. So we basically said, "Look, let us ship to you for free." And our fans were so accommodating. They were so great to support us. There was one fan, and I need to get a hold of her. It's been a while since I've seen her because we don't do that convention anymore. But there was one girl in California that would spend her check, her check that she got from the state on chocolate. She'd order $800 a month. $800 one month, $600 one month, and finally we wrote a little message and said, "Is this for a team at work? Like, can we like help you out?" And she's like, "No, this is just for me. I just want to make sure that you guys don't go away." I feel like that's the type of family we have in this business.
That's the thing. I feel like I'm the opposite, because if I get your chocolates, I don't wait I just eat them because they're so good. Even if they're like, I got one of those Millennium Falcon ones one time, and I couldn't eat it fast enough. I was just like, arr, arr. Hey everyone, Mike here. I just wanted to interrupt this episode and say thank you for listening. And please remember to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We need your support to keep these episodes coming. So spread the word, and now back to the conversation. But I understand somebody being like, I'm going to spend my whole check on chocolate.
I mean, we do. We have people spend upwards of $600 in a weekend on our chocolate. And then there are people that have never tried our chocolate. And usually they say, "Oh, well, it looks too pretty to eat," or "I've never tried the chocolate." And always there's someone at the table who's had our chocolate that says, no, don't even think that, because you haven't tried it yet. It's better than it looks. It tastes way better than it looks.
That's crazy.
So yeah, we really grew our online presence. We had to do a lot of stuff in the storefront. We started little Horcrux hunts that you get to wander around outside all of Pleasant Grove trying to find the Horcruxes, but at the end you can come in and get a chocolate frog. And then we'd limit how many people, it had to be a family that came in together. But that really blew up too. We had people coming from all over Utah County to do that experience and have a chance to try our chocolate.
So do you think that people are just, for stuff like that, like people are just looking for something to do? They want an adventure, but they also want an experience.
Yeah. People,
and your chocolate is that for that. It's an experience for them. It's
absolutely. We really kind of came at a good time because, there were so many closeted nerds that, seriously,
sounds like
they wouldn't tell anyone,
well,
they were really into this or that. And comic conventions changed all of that because everybody came out of the closet and said, "Here I am." People started connecting over things they didn't feel like they could talk to people about,
Yeah. Well, that was the time, like back in the 80s, the 90s and stuff, like those were the kinds they always got made fun of. They got beat up.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
you're cool if you wear a Star Wars t-shirt,
if you know that stuff, you've lived, essentially.
Well, and I remember, the first few years having conversations with Dan, the owner of FanX, and every year you'd say, "So how did you do?" And I think we really won the comic conventions because we're bringing something that people are going to eat. Once you get the t-shirt, you've got the t-shirt. Once you buy the one real cool thing, you've got it. But chocolate will sell every time. People have to try all the new things. They're going to get their favorites. They're going to buy for the person who's watching their kids. It's probably pretty affordable too, considering, what you're going to spend on something else at a comic convention.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and people will spend, it's much easier to throw $20 at something than $500.
Yeah.
So if it's like, hey, it's a $20 pack of little chocolates.
Yeah.
I could do that. If it was 500, people would be like, let me hold up.
Let's do this really big sculpture and we'll charge you $500 for it.
Yeah. So do you feel like you yourself have become a uncloseted nerd now? Like,
I mean, maybe.
Because I'm sure people ask you about it all the time. Like, or, hey, have you seen this movie? You should put this on there, or this series, or this or that. Like, you have to stay up to date on it. So are you finding like, what's the word? You're finding like an attraction to that?
I can't keep up. I'm just one single person.
There's too many of them. But.
So, I mean, within the past 5 years, anime has become the dominant genre.
Oh.
So I remember a couple years ago, I was with my friend we were last day Seattle. We'd sold out of all of our chocolate already. And so we thought, well, we're just going to wander around, and see what's out there that's Marvel related, or because she had a daughter that really was into Marvel. We couldn't find anything. Like everything had spun around to anime. That became the focus. So that's a genre we're not as good at, so we're working hard to catch up, Yeah. Doing the One Piece. We do a dulce de leche One Piece bar, and it has the posters on it.
Dude, my daughter is really into anime right now, but if she watches, she gets really mad at me because I say it wrong, but it's like Naruto.
Naruto. Yeah.
She's like, Dad, Naruto.
There's
so
that.
If you get Naruto chocolates made,
I know.
let me know. It'll blow her mind.
We have that. We have Death Note is popular still. I mean, we've gone all the way back to Sailor Moon, which was a 90s anime show.
Oh,
and people love it. I mean, they just, it ties them to something that they've loved in the past that they can, share with all their friends. Look, I got this cool chocolate.
But do you find like going to those Comic-Con, like people will ask you like, hey, are you going to bring something out with this?
Yeah, why don't you do this design? And I say, send me a list. I mean, honestly, what we do, we can't do without our fans. Like you find a diehard Avatar Airbender fan, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, you've got to do the cactus juice, or you've got to do this, or you've got to do that. Or what if we did the little, and I've watched it, and I can't remember. I enjoyed it, but I can't remember everyone's names. And so I just say, you got to send it to us. We'll look it up. We'll do our best. We'll try and come up with something. Stranger Things was probably one of my favorite last year. When that new series 4 came out, we did the strange bars with all the strange ingredients, and people jumped all over that. I mean, we did salted potato chip bars. We did the spicy Cheetos corn nut bars, and all of them were strange ingredients, but crazy enough, they tasted good. So
What's been your
favorite
one to make?
My favorite, taste-wise?
Taste-wise and design-wise.
Well,
I'm going to take this back. Your favorite design one, I know, it's the Valentine's adult-themed one, but
you know what?
we don't have to go down that road.
Yeah, with the vanilla cream inside. Don't go look at that, guys. Do not look at our 18 and older case.
Don't look at that.
Just saying, don't look at it.
But just know without saying, that's probably Jenny's favorite. But favorite non-adult themed one.
I think the last thing that I just started doing, and always for me it's the newest thing because I get to be creative, and that's my favorite thing is creativity. So we started doing serial killer chocolate, and we're taking the mini cereals like Trix and Cocoa Puffs, and we're rolling them in different flavored chocolates. That is my newest thing. It was fun to create a really fun spin-off branding for it that was kind of our own, and I love that. I'm right now this year, aside from coming up with new things, which is what I love, is the corporate side. Being able to come up, somebody will take their brand and say, what can you make with this? And, like Sinclair Gas and Oil. We did their dinos in chocolate. Key Bank now has a chocolate red key that they can give out as branding. It's just so different from your traditional chocolate shop, and that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Being different, setting ourselves, in a different space. I think we think in business, well, we're competing. Well, we're really not. How many people are on this earth that love chocolate, that can get it in any way they want, and will find a brand one way or another that they love. It's just cool. It's cool to have such a great little business.
So I guess what's next? What's the next big?
I keep thinking I want to do a podcast and talk about all the celebrities we've met. We have so many incredible stories. But then I think, when am I going to find the time? I'm still too busy making chocolate. So we'll see. We have a few ideas. We'll have to see. You'll have to find us, follow us, and find out.
I think, honestly, I think it's truly one of the best food products, even though they look really pretty, but they taste so freaking good. Everything that you've done, that you've ever brought me, that I've bought from you, it's...
I just have to say, this Truffle Cottage really has been such an organic success. I could have never imagined. I always thought, well, I'm either going to go big or go home. I'm not going to do it if I can't do something outstanding.
Is there anything you would have changed, something that you would have done differently if you could go back and do it again?
No. I mean, it's taken us 10 years to get, this is year 11 for us. So it's taken us a little bit of time to get to this point. But now, being on the corporate side, and as much as we love conventions, we're very limited to what we can do now. There's another chocolate company that has become a sponsor with one of the main conventions that goes all across the country, and so we're not able to vend at some of our normal places we used to vend at, and we have a lot of fans that are really disappointed in that. But also, because we're a chocolate company, everyone wants to share with that. They're asking for sometimes upwards of 40% of our profit to vend at these conventions. So
as a vendor at something like that, how do you can you negotiate it? Like, for somebody that maybe is looking at doing something like that, if you go to a conference like that, do you just have to suck it up and say give away most of your profits, or because obviously those kind of conventions are like a necessity to get your product out there.
Yeah.
So is it worth giving up that much, or can you negotiate it? Is it something that's...
it just really depends. We did Salt Lake. We've been doing Salt Lake for years, and they've always said, well, you're not really competition. Your chocolate is a lot more than what someone would pay, to eat something there. So as long as you keep your price point above $7, we're good. Now that company's no longer there, and it's a brand new company. And that company reached out to us before the September show and basically said, hey, this is where we're at. We want 20%, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote back and said, look, I don't know if you've looked at our product, but we sell dragon eggs with baby dragons inside for $49 that no one is going to open on the floor. This is not a competition. We sell hot chocolate bombs that you're going to take home and put in a cup of hot milk, and it's going to bubble up a potion like you've never seen before.
Or you're going to find out what Harry Potter house you're
Yeah, it's going to be themed, so you're going to find your house. That's not something you're going to open up on a convention floor. And finally, they emailed me back and said, okay, you know what, you're right. You're in. You don't have to give us 20% or 30% or whatever the amount was. I think it's educating people on really what we're providing. We're providing, first of all, a collectible chocolate. That's what brings you to our table because of what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, you're going to experience it at home. You're not going to throw the experience away just biting into something right on the floor. Although, to be fair, we know that some people do, and sometimes we want to encourage that because, we want to let other people experience the thrill of biting into a sorting hat and being sorted into a house.
Yeah.
and enjoying the chocolate.
Wow.
Crazy business.
Is there any last little tidbits, things that you want to share that we haven't talked about already? Secrets to your success, secrets like, I don't know.
Well, we could talk for a really long time. It's a chocolate business. What's there to not love about chocolate? I don't know. I know that chocolate's going up. That's always a concern.
Yeah.
As with any business, there are always things you have to look at and consider, and be prepared to pivot or be prepared to change if you need to
But
keep
the thing
it going.
I think with yours though is like, even though the costs go up, people pay for quality.
Yeah.
People will pay for good quality chocolate over a Hershey's bar or,
It really
something
depends
like
on
that.
the people. I mean,
But-
you've got your people. We sell our handcrafted truffles in our storefront on Main Street, Pleasant Grove.
Yes.
In case you want to go check it out.
TruffleCottage.com.
TruffleCottage.com. And they look at a $2 price on a truffle and say, no, thank you. It can't be that good. And they walk out. With every brand, with every company, you have your markets that are going to pay for it or not. And in the past, we've had our fans step up and support us. And I think that will be the case here. It's not just about having good chocolate. We're a family. And these people do what they can to help support us. And we, in turn, try and come up with things we know they're going to love. So
Well, you're doing an amazing job with it.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's really, for me, I love the chocolate, but I sure love the people.
Yeah.
I just love the people. So.
Well, and now you can go show them off with your curly, fun hair.
Yay.
I know this is something that's, we're trying it curly, so why not?
Yeah, who
Let's
knew
have
I
some
had
fun with
curly
it.
hair?
I know. Well, and that's the thing.
I had no idea.
It's there.
I
You
think
just have to.
You know what, Mike? I wanted curly hair because I wanted a perm. Remember, we did the perm, and
yeah.
I was like, cut it off.
Yeah.
Cut it off. It's not working for me. But now I'm growing the hair out, and I'm going to do it.
It's there.
By the way, I don't know, probably every person that does this show says this, but Mike is the best hairdresser.
Well,
He's
thank
good.
you.
He's good at what he does, and he knows how to talk to people.
Well, I'm trying.
I mean, you wouldn't do the show if you couldn't. Let's be honest.
I'm trying. I will always do my absolute best. And again, I think it's quality. People like quality. And
Yeah.
so I will always try to do quality first.
That's
Over
awesome.
speed, over anything else. Quality for nothing else. So, well,
Thank you.
thanks, Jenny. That was it.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right.
We're done.